Hello out there, everyone! Welcome to another super lesson with Blue Studio! Woof! Sorry about that. That yawn came out of nowhere. Say, have you ever wondered what makes you yawn? Well, good thing you tuned into today's lesson because that is exactly what we're going to learn about. You've probably seen plenty of yawns in your life, and you've probably yawned a lot yourself. We humans do it all the time, about 20 times a day. Animals yawn too, even birds and reptiles. A yawn is a deep and slow inhalation, a wide opening of the jaw, a contraction of facial muscles, a pause of breath, followed by a short exhale, and a closing of the mouth. What a sequence! Yawns usually happen when we are drowsy, bored, or sleepy, but sometimes they seem to come out of nowhere. You know a yawn when you see one, and they mostly happen involuntarily. So, what causes this spontaneous action, and why do we do it? Scientists have been asking these same questions for ages, and there are still many theories floating around. Even as far back as Hippocrates in the 4th century, yawns were thought to be a way for the body to direct more oxygen to the brain. Yawns usually occur at rest. When we are still and calm, our heart rates and breathing slow down. This may cause a dip in our body's ability to deliver oxygen to our organs, like the brain. So, the brain would respond by triggering a deep inhale, a yawn, to get a burst of oxygen and increase our heart rate, thus delivering more blood flow across the body and perking us up. But when people are at low levels of oxygen, like living at a higher elevation or in a low oxygen state, they don't tend to yawn more. Even unborn babies have been observed yawning, and they aren't even breathing air. That moves us to the next theory: temperature regulation. Yawning could also be the body's way of cooling down the brain. Like if you're very warm or your temperature is rising. You know, being warm and being drowsy usually go hand in hand, and we tend to yawn mostly when we are drowsy. If a yawn were to trigger increased blood flow to the brain, this could also be a mechanism for cooling down temperatures. But people aren't found to yawn more when they're in a hot environment. Imagine if that were the case. Your beach trip would be riddled with yawns. That would make boogie boarding a little bit more difficult, wouldn't it? So, great. Now we are back at the beginning with our question. Why do we yawn? Through all of these theories about yawning, the one with the most compelling evidence is that yawning is a social act of nonverbal communication. Didn't see that coming, did you? It certainly is an interesting idea, and the source likely dates back to a time when humans needed to rely on methods of communication other than verbal language. So, when you see someone yawn, you know right away that they're probably feeling drowsy, bored, tired, or even stressed or nervous. It's your body's way of waving a big old flag that says, "I am feeling off, okay?" Interestingly enough though, people about to engage in stressful situations like performing on stage or skydiving are often observed yawning. Group communication is highly important among social creatures like us humans, and nonverbal communication makes up 70% of how we communicate with others. Perhaps yawning is a leftover behavior from our ancient ancestors that couldn't yet communicate with words. Or maybe it is a way to show others that we're in a less active or altered mental state. But there is one other quirky thing about yawns. They are contagious. Yep, you can actually catch a yawn. Let's try a little mental game. Sit comfortably in your seat and place your hands on your lap. Now, I want you to start thinking about yawning. Picture yourself yawning. focus on yawning. Oh, well, did you yawn? How incredible is it that just thinking about yawning or seeing someone else do it makes you yawn too? Yawns aren't contagious in the way that diseases are. There isn't a pesky yawn germ that hops from person to person. Instead, the answer lies in brain science. The key to understanding this paradox refers to the social theory of yawns being a form of nonverbal communication that we just learned about. Researchers believe that this contagious yawn phenomenon is due to a very interesting type of brain cell called a mirror neuron. Mirror neurons fire not only when we do something, like take a drink of water, but also when we observe someone doing something. They are what help us to understand actions and also consequences. When we watch someone take a drink of water, we might start to feel thirsty ourselves and reach for our own glass of water. Or if you see a friend fall, you probably feel sad that they fell and scraped their knee, even though it didn't happen to you and you didn't get hurt. But you understand the discomfort of getting hurt. Just thinking about scraping your knee can make you cringe. This is the very origin of empathy, a person's ability to understand and share in the feelings of someone else. So when your friend yawns, it can cause you to do the same. A person's susceptibility to catching a yawn may be indicative of their ability to empathize with others. But don't worry if your little brother or sister doesn't yawn after you. Kids don't start catching contagious yawns before the age of 5. Amazingly, this is about the age that the brain centers responsible for empathy and higher social connection begin to develop. You're more likely to catch a yawn from someone you're close to, like a family member. We even see contagious yawns in non-human mammals like chimpanzees and dogs. In primates, it has been observed that the more time individuals spent grooming each other, the more likely they were to catch each other's yawns. This finding demonstrates that the degree of social bonding is related to how catchable a yawn is. Wow! Aside from their fellow canine pals, dogs are also susceptible to catching humans' yawns. If you notice your dog yawning after you, consider yourself in a bonding experience. I'd suggest a fun observation experiment next time you're in a group setting, like family game night. Try letting out a nice, long yawn and watch what happens. Well, did it catch on? Maybe a few others in the group began to yawn too? Did your dog yawn? Now, listen, just because someone doesn't catch a yawn doesn't mean that they don't have any empathy or aren't close to you. There's a lot more at play here, like attention, mental state, and more. Your parent might be too engrossed in winning that Monopoly game to subconsciously jump on the yawning train. Or maybe Fido was daydreaming about chasing squirrels. The brain is a complicated wonder, and that's exactly what makes yawns so interesting in the first place. Funny that something so interesting can be initiated by boredom and sleepiness. It's wild. Okay, now let's review what we've learned today. Yawns are a very common human behavior, and scientists have been puzzled by them for centuries. A few theories as to why we yawn include increasing oxygen to the body, regulating our temperature, and a way to non-verbally communicate our status to other people. Yawns are contagious. Just seeing someone else yawn can cause you to do the same. This phenomenon is likely due to our brain's mirror neurons and related to our capacity for empathy. Though we learned a lot about yawning today, it's clear that there is still so much that is unknown. How interesting that such a common human behavior is such a mystery. Yawning seems like a simple act, yet understanding it is anything but. As scientists continue to study the perplexing origin of yawning, we do know one thing for sure. When you see someone else yawn, it's hard to resist yawning yourself. Whether it is your brain asking for more oxygen or a subconscious nonverbal message to others, a yawn is a deceivingly complicated behavior. Well, after all that yawn talk, I think I need to take a little snooze. Ha! Anyway, thanks for joining me today in this lesson to learn all about why we yawn. I hope that I see you next time for another fun-packed learning session with Blue Studios. Okay. Bye, guys. Whew, sleepy today. Huh.
We are thrilled that you're watching Blue Studios 24/7. We're so excited to bring round-the-clock entertainment and educational content to your home. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our latest videos. At Blue Studios, we aspire to revolutionize the way families spend time together. We empower families by providing them with tools to work together, earn and learn, and achieve new heights of success. Visit www.bluestudios.io to discover more about our mission and how we empower families to succeed. Thank you so much for being part of our community. Keep watching and learning with us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.